Well, I'm standing on a property outside of Childers at the moment, and this is the homestead and the family home of William and Thomas C. They are newly identified Lost Diggers of Vignacourt, and we've just had a magnificent morning talking to Cedric and Heather, two of the kids of Thomas C. And they have told us amazing stories of these two gentlemen who are now not lost diggers, but they are remembered diggers here in Childers, and we look forward to telling a lot more stories about the C family and their journeys in World War I and how they returned here to Childers to become members of the community. Thomas and William C. Alright, well, we've got Cedric and Heather C with us here today, and they are the son and daughter of Thomas C, who is a local from Childers who went off during World War I, and he won a military medal for conspicuous service, and he also came home and carried on life here in this very house where the guys are sitting here this morning. So I might ask you first, Cedric, can you tell us a bit about your dad, what you remember?
Well, he was one that started the service club in Childers, and because he knew there was a lot of people coming home and couldn't help themselves, so him and about 4 other locals started the club. And they didn't drink or smoke, and the club was a wet one, and they had somewhere to go to have a beer and have a game of billiards and so forth.
So he felt very strongly about providing for the soldiers when they came home. Did Dad talk much about the war when he came home?
No, he didn't. But he did tell me when he was shot that he carried an old water bottle and a new one, and when he was shot he decided he'd throw his old bottle away and put the water in the new one, and when he done that it was squirting water out of 2 holes in it, which he then knew that a sniper missed the first one and got the water bottle, and the second bullet went right through him in his stomach and out his back. And he fell into a shell hole, and when he got cold he couldn't walk or do anything, but a German prisoner of war come and looked after him, and then he was found by his own troops and taken into safety.
How old were you? How old were you when Dad came home? He got married when he came home, did he?
Yes.
Yeah. And so when you grew up, by the time you were old enough to sort of, I suppose, know a little bit about what had done, were you interested to ask him about those things or not?
No, I wasn't.
No?
No.
What about when the Second World War came along?
Well, I was 13 when it finished, and the biggest memory then was he joined the VDC when they were supplied with rifles and ammunition, and they went on weekend
bivouacs and things too. So both Thomas and William went together from Childers.
As far as I know.
Yeah. And when both of them came back, do you know, did they spend time together? Like, were they?
Yes,
had the war done something as brothers to them?
Yeah. Well, they worked the farm here, and they stayed on and bought the others out, and that was 4 of them stayed on, but the others they weren't at the war.
Why do you think, from your point of view, why would have Thomas enlisted to go to World War One?
I don't know.
Do you think it was, like back in those days, was there a bit of excitement in going off, do you think?
I'd say it was king and country, and because the father was an Englishman.
Right.
And he married an Australian girl when he came here.
Now, a great many soldiers went from Childers, didn't they?
Yes.
And a great many also died.
Yes.
Thomas and William were very lucky. They obviously did the right thing over there. Well, as you told the story about the water bottle, he was quite lucky.
Yes.
So, were there any other memories that you...
That means we're lucky as well.
That's exactly right, because you mightn't have been here. Now, just recently, we've actually been able to identify both Thomas and William as a lost digger from Vignacourt.
Yes.
Tell us, you recognised the picture very early, didn't you?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I worked here when I left school, and I worked with them all my life, so I knew them, didn't I?
All of them.
Yes.
And how did you find out about the photograph?
A book was bought. My daughter-in-law bought the book for her husband, but I happened to be in Brisbane down at a hospital, and I was first to read it. And I picked it up the first time I looked through it.
Before that, did you have any idea that he may have been to Vignacourt?
No.
None at all?
Never said anything.
What did you think when you actually saw the photograph?
Well, he looked very young to me, and he only looked about under 20 perhaps, but he was older than that. And
many of the soldiers were quite young, but both Tom and William, they were 23 and 25, I think. So they were a little bit more mature when they went.
Possibly, yeah.
And are you sort of pleased that you've identified him in that book now, do you think? Is that a good thing?
Oh, yes, I think so.
It'll be a great thing to have.
It's been good to have had it while he lived.
Yes, for him to see it. Okay, Heather, now you what are your memories of Dad?
Oh, much the same as what Cedric said.
Yeah? Did you ever ask Dad about the war? And he never mentioned anything about it? Life just went on, I suppose. And what did you...
Probably talk to our older brother for more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the older brother see you in that one.
And what did you think when you saw the photograph in the book?
Oh, well, I knew Cedric had told me about it, so I went and bought a book too.
Yeah? And was it quite surprising to see them both there?
Yes, it was.
And did you, you obviously found out a little bit about the story of Vignacourt then?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? And did that make you a little bit proud, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of interest in World War I by Australians at the moment. Is it something that brings a sense of pride to yourself about your dad?
I guess so.
Yeah. What about you, Cedric? Is there a sense of pride about your dad?
Yes, because they have the stone memorial in the town here now, and yes, I'm pleased he come home because most people are pleased they had a chance to live on Earth, didn't they?
Now, also we know that Thomas actually won a military medal.
Yes.
And can you tell us? Do you know the story about that?
Yes.
What he did? Heather, do you know a little bit? Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I'll let Teddy tell it, I think.
Well, there was 11 volunteers that morning to go out and recover the wounded, and only 9 come back. 2 they had to dodge snipers, but apparently they must have got word to the opposition, and they allowed them to carry on till dark. But they had shot 2 before they allowed the others to carry on.
And so Thomas was awarded the military medal for bravery in basically going and recovering the wounded.
All 9 were given the military medal for it.
Wow, would have been very exciting. And this is his military medal here, and his medals. And the photograph over there is of Thomas as well, Heather, yes. And that's his medal from World War II.